My name is Mike Barr, and today I'm going to show you how to enable Azure SSO and user provisioning in your PDI. So, as you can see, I'm in my PDI here. One thing you're going to need to do before you get started in ServiceNow is to go to the plugins, wait for the page to load. Might take some time. All right. And you want to make sure that you have this particular plugin enabled. Integration, multiple provider, single sign-in installer. Once that you have that installed, refresh your browser, and then simply type in SSO, and you'll see the properties here. So you can see I have the base properties of enable, enable importing of users, debugging, and the field that we are going to use to basically authenticate with. And then in the PDIs, you get some of this out-of-the-box stuff, which is, it's great, but we're not going to use any of this stuff in this particular tutorial. So now that I have that done, let's move on over to Azure, because that's where a lot of the work is going to take place, and then we'll come back to ServiceNow. So in Azure, and you guys are probably wondering, well, how do I get here? Well, you might know that Microsoft purchased GitHub, and with that, you get some free stuff from Microsoft. So what I'm basically using is, so if I'm going to log out here just to show you, sign out. Yep, signed out. All right, great. Oh, there we go. So basically, because I have a GitHub account with my Gmail account, I also have a freemium, if you will, Azure account. And with that comes with a free Azure AD, so to speak. It's not nothing like your enterprise AD type stuff, but hey, it works in this particular case here. So, all right, so I'm back in AD, or back in Azure, I should say. And I've got Azure Active Directory over here on my left-hand side. Go ahead and click that. And let's look at my users. Unfortunately, it's just me, but that's okay. That's all we need. So let's go back. On the left-hand side here, you're going to look for enterprise applications. So let's pull that up. And if you go through, you're going to see the applications that you're subscribed to. But also, if you click on New Application, you're going to see a ton of others. So in this case, we're going to search for ServiceNow. And I'm going to click on it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this as ServiceNow PDI. I'm going to click Add. And I'm doing this for a reason, because you might be wondering, and we'll get to this at the end of the video, but why did I name it the way that I did? Well, it's because you can add more than one. So if I actually come back here and click on New Application again, type ServiceNow, there we go. And let's just say you're doing this for if you're a customer or if you're a client, doing it for a client. You want to provision throughout all of the environments. So in this case, I can use test or prod, however you want to name it. But the idea is that you can add more than one, and it's not prevalently known that you can do that or you need to add a separate application for each login, but I wanted to make that known. So let's go back to ServiceNow PDI. Great. All right. So now what I want to do is, because I know I have a user, I'm going to add my user to here. So I got my bar, my admin account, select, assign. All right. One and done, no big deal. So the next step is, single sign-on, which is what we're all here for. So I'm going to click SAML. All right. So now I need to provide a couple things here. So let me get that for you. We're going to do, basically it's as easy as this, this, this slash navpage.do. And that's really it. So I've got my three URLs here. I'm going to click save. All right, good to go. We'll test later. All right, and all this stuff is nice, but really, all you need to do is come here, and you come to this configuration page, and ServiceNow, or I'm sorry, Microsoft will automatically send the information that you need to ServiceNow from Azure. So here's what we're going to do. I don't want to use my admin account, so I'm going to create a new one. Click new. And use Azure.ad, Azure AD, and we're going to give it a password. I'm going to save it. And for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to give it admin, because that's what it needs. But from a security perspective, I'm going to lock this out. Web service only, because that's what you should do. All right, cool. So I've got my Azure.ad account. Let's come back here. Do Azure AD. Oops. See if I got the right password. Nope, I didn't. All right. I'm going to change it just to make it easier because I don't remember the password that I just typed in. So we're just do password. For those of you watching, I'm going to change it or delete the account. So no sense in trying to hack into my AD instance or ServiceNow instance. Oh, come on. One more time. There we go. See, got signed up successfully. And you're like, all right, well, what do I do from here? It's actually quite simple. So, SSO, identity providers. You'd see now, boom, Microsoft has pushed over all the information that we need from Azure AD in over to our instance. So the first thing that you're going to do is add the cert. Won't work if you don't do this. All right, easy enough. So user provisioning, we're going to leave that there. Oh, one last thing. Now that I'm connected, speaking of provisioning, we are going to add provisioning. So we're going to click on, so you go to provisioning here, click on configure automatic provisioning, and that's not what I wanted. Get started, that's what I wanted. Perfect. Automatic. All right. Put in my dev account, Azure.ad, super secret password. I'll put in my email. And we're going to test the connection. Boom. One and done. Save. And we are going to, oh, do I need to refresh? I think I do. All right, so provisioning has been started. Usually it turns on, or it gives me an opportunity to turn it on by itself. I can click on edit and just double check here. Provisioning status. Yeah, normally this doesn't happen, but hey, I'll set it back up, no big deal. All right. Notify me. Provisioning on. Got my scope. Perfect. Save. Save. Yeah, all right. It's just being funky. Azure is weird like that sometimes. So let's save it. Yeah, apparently you have to test it before you're actually allowed to save it. ServiceNow does the same thing. All right. So now that we're done here, there's a couple things we need to change here. The first thing that we need to change is get rid of this guy. Don't need it. The other thing is here. So Azure basically sets this field automatically. Well, from my experience, this does not work. Change it to username. All right. Last thing you need to do is change this guy. As you saw in my recent selections here, you need to choose the multi-SSO v2 SAML custom script includes. All right. Now, before you do anything else, don't save this record because if you save it without testing the connection, you will lose all the work that you do. So we're going to test it. And let's see if it works. All right. So mpar.smc@gmail.com. All right, redirecting me to GitHub, which is cool. And boom, we've got it. This is exactly what you should see. This is exactly how it should happen. So we're going to activate this bad boy. All right. So pretty much we're done. The last thing that I'm going to do here to kind of finish off this proof of concept is set as auto RDP. All right. So basically what this means is that when you go to your instance, your PDI instance, so dev, whatever, .service-now.com, you're going to be redirected to your Azure SSO. But before I do that, let me just make sure that I have this enabled, because this is not going to work if it's not. All right, let's close that puppy out. I'll log out. All right, yep, log out successful. Perfect. Now, and here we are. Oh, well, look at that. It must be because I'm already logged in, but you can tell default view. This was not the account that I started with. So if I impersonate the account that I originally started with, like bar, see, got 2. I'm back to the original screen. So you can see there that within a few minutes, I was able to successfully, let's do this again. I just want to see if I can show you that login process. It's just going to do it for me. All right, but you can clearly see that. What about this way? Access external URL. There we go. So you can see here that SSO has been successfully configured with Azure. And as I mentioned, going back to the main overview screen in Azure Active Directory, is that you can set up multiple ServiceNow provisioning for each of your instances. So right now we did it for the PDI, but if you're a customer, if you're working for a client, you can easily set up multiple instances of authenticating with your Azure SSO environment. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed it.